Good morning, students. Today we are going to begin with your literature, the first lesson of your textbook Flamingo titled The Last Lesson. Very paradoxical, isn't it? The first lesson being titled The Last Lesson, written by Alphonse Daudet. This lesson is written in the backdrop of Franco-Prussian War that was fought between 1870 and 1871, in which France was defeated at the hands of Prussia, now known as Germany, and it lost its districts of Alsace and Lorraine at the hands of Prussia. The story is about a young boy, Franz, and there's another character in it, that is Mr. Hamel, who's a French teacher. The story begins Franz going to his school, being very scared of Mr. Hamel because he has not prepared his lesson on participles. So, while on his way to school, he's tempted by many things like the birds chirping in the woods, the Prussian soldiers drilling, and the bright, warm day. But he resists himself and walks towards his school. On his way to school, he passes the town hall where he sees a huge crowd that has gathered in front of the bulletin board, but he's unable to understand what the reason is. Of course, he knows that it is the bulletin board that in the last 2 years of war has brought all the news, bad or good, about the lost battles, about the draft, the orders of the commanding officers. But what was the matter right now, he was absolutely unaware. While he was hurrying to school, it was Blacksmith Watcher who called out at him and said, "Don't go so fast, bub. You'll get to your school in plenty of time." Franz thought he was making fun of him, and he continued towards his school and finally reached there panting. When he reached the school, he was surprised at the changed environment. There was no chaos, no noise, no hustle bustle, which was the usual feature of the school. That day, the school was as quiet as on a Sunday morning. There were no lessons, there were sound of lessons, I'm sorry. There was no rapping of ruler on the table. And this chaos was what he had counted on to enter the class. But he, fearing his teacher, Mr. Hamel, entered thinking that he would be scolded, but he was surprised. Mr. Hamel was so polite to him, and he asked him to take his seat. After taking a seat and settling, he observed a few more things. He observed that Mr. Hamel was wearing his beautiful green coat, his frilled shirt, and the black silk cap, which he wore only on inspection and prize days, and that day was neither of them. Then he was further surprised by seeing the back benches of the class that were usually empty, but that day it were the elderly of the village who had occupied it. They consisted of old Hosser, the former mayor, the former postmaster, and several others. But Franz was yet very confused. At that very moment, Mr. Hamel got up and he announced to the students that it was their last French lesson, that an order had come from Berlin to teach only German in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine. And so he wanted everyone to be very attentive that day. These words fell like a thunderclap on Franz. But then there was a change in Franz's attitude. He realized that he had wasted all the time and opportunity he had to learn his mother tongue. A realization dawned upon him that now he will grow up as a Frenchman who would neither be able to read nor write his own mother tongue, and he felt very ashamed of it. The books, which were always so burdensome, now he felt were his true friends, and even his attitude towards Mr. Hamill changed. He always found him to be very strict and cranky, but now he appeared to be very polite and understanding. And it was now that Franz understood why the crowd had gathered in front of the bulletin of the town hall, why these elderly people were there occupying the back benches of the class. Probably they were feeling sorry that they had not attended the school more often, and probably it was their own way of thanking their master for his 40 years of faithful service and showing the respect towards their country and their teacher. Finally, it was Franz's turn to recite some rules of participles. But of course, as he was not prepared, he could not repeat them. He felt ashamed, and he knew that now was coming the scoldings. But it was absolutely different Hamill. He said he was not going to scold him. And he would also not blame Franz for his inability to learn his mother tongue. Instead, he blamed every individual of Alsace for putting their work off for tomorrow, that is procrastination, and not learning when the opportunity was in their hand. He also blames Franz's parents for sending him to mills and farms to earn a little more money instead of inspiring him to go to school. Mr. Hamill does not even spare himself. He takes the blame for sending Franz to water his flowers in the garden and also giving everyone an off whenever he wanted to go fishing. Now, Mr. Hamill starts his lesson, and the first thing that he talks about is the French language. He calls it the most beautiful language in the world, the clearest, the most logical. He also asks his students to hold fast onto their mother tongue and guard it, for it is their mother tongue that would serve the key to their prison. Finally, he takes a lesson in grammar, which Franz was surprised that he was able to understand it so clearly. Then, of course, they all were given new copies with beautifully written handwriting, Alsace and Franz. With this, maybe Hamill was trying to invoke their patriotism. Everyone wrote with complete dedication. The class was very quiet and solemn. Everyone busy writing their work. The only sound that could be heard in the class was scratching of pens over paper. Even the colorful beetles could not distract them. And there was one more sound that was heard, which was of the pigeons cooing very low over the roof. And on this, Franz commented, "Will they make them sing in German, even the pigeons?" This talks about the mental state of Franz. He's so angry, he's so annoyed, he's feeling so helpless at the attitude of Germans trying to impose their language and taking away their right to learn French. Anyway, while they were all doing their work, it was Hamill who looked around and saw everything very keenly, as if he was storing everything in his memory for the time he wouldn't be there. And then the clock struck 12, the church clock, of course. And they also heard the Prussian soldiers returning from the Dill. At this moment, Hamill got up from his chair and wanted to address his students. But he felt so emotional and so choked that not a word came out of his mouth. He turned to the blackboard, took a piece of chalk, and wrote on it as large as he could, "Vive la France," which means "Long live France." And then he leaned his head against the wall And without uttering a word, he made a gesture with his hand that the school was dismissed and they could all leave. Thank you. But, children, it is very necessary that you read the chapter, then you listen to it, to this recording. It is only then you will be able to understand it better. Of course, some notes have been prepared which will help you understand the chapter better. Thank you so much.